your own sewing machine?
I just packed enough for this week. Eric, come on, honey, we're ready.
Well, I'm glad he's anxious to go anyway.
Oh, yeah, well, so am I. But he's always had a good relationship with my mother anyway. But you know what? At least she will accept him for what he is without trying to make him into something he's not. Eric, come on, it's a long drive. Well, we are going to Canada, and no one is going to talk us out of this.
Well, what's going on?
We're right on time, as usual.
Well, it's important for a politician to be on time.
I see.
Kate, I know this is difficult, so I want to thank you for seeing me.
Well, I really don't know why I am.
Kate, I don't like feeling off balance any more than you do. That's why I'm here. I want to get things straight between us again.
Hi, Iona. Excuse me. Eric, come on, honey. It's a long, long drive.
What is a long drive?
Canada.
Canada? Is there a war going on or something? What?
No, Ione. It's just a minor skirmish.
Ione, Eric and I are leaving Kingsley. We're going to stay with my mother for a while in Canada. I just can't let Daddy influence my son anymore.
Oh, well, Miriam, why can't we just sit down and talk this thing out?
Ione, I have made up my mind, and this is the best thing for him.
Oh, well, Miriam, you know you've always been welcome to stay in my house. As a matter of fact, you know, it was just beginning to feel like old times here with you and Eric, and he's such a dear little boy.
Eric is just the point. If I stay here in Kingsley, Daddy will continue to dig his claws deeper into my son every single day.
Well, he is your father, Miriam.
Ione, I have made up my mind. We are going to Canada.
Kate, you know how I feel.
Yes, I do, Lee. And you know that Dave and I are working things out between us.
Are you? Oh, did I say something wrong?
Lee, I
Or
hope...
has he lost some ground in this contest?
I don't understand why everyone is looking on this as a contest with me as the prize.
But you are a prize, Kate. A prize I want to cherish all my life.
Please, don't make this decision any more difficult for me than it is. Tell me, have you been able to keep the advantage after the article in the Chronicle?
Well, I don't know. Oh, you remember the debates with Wainwright that I mentioned to you a while back?
Of course I remember the debates.
Well, I have received an invitation. The first debate's in a few weeks. Kate, it would sure be nice if you could be there. I mean, it could very well be a decisive factor in the campaign.
I thought you didn't want me on a purely professional level.
Well, I know. I said a lot of things the last time I was over here, mostly out of hurt feelings and pride. But, Kate, I need your help. I need the kind of insight that you gave me for the Kingsley College speech.
Does this mean you'd want me on stage at the debates?
Well, you know it would help if the voters could see that you were with me.
I've given you my word that I won't retract my engagement announcement until after the election. But to do anything more, Lee, it just wouldn't be honest.
Well, you know, it would be less than honest if I didn't admit that being engaged to Kate Phillips is the most important thing in my life. I don't mean for just a campaign. I mean for all the things that we could share together.
That's what Sebastian said.
Oh?
After he apologized profusely for his blunder.
Oh, look, Kate. why don't we have dinner tomorrow night and discuss it further?
Lee, I couldn't Excuse me. Dave.
Bet you've got a million questions about this afternoon.
Should I?
No, and if you were with anybody else but Amber, I didn't realize you had company. Lee?
Lee came over to discuss the campaign, but he was just about to leave.
Yes. I'll call you about the debates, Kate. It's good to see you again, Dave. I trust all is going well at the clinic?
Yes, very well. Thank you.
Good. I can let myself out, Kate. Goodbye.
Debates.
We'll talk about that later. Now, tell me, just what did you think Amber was going to say when she saw you and Terry Davidson having lunch together?
Let me see. How about we were having a torrid affair for months?
Wrong.
Well, then how about we're about to have a torrid affair?
A little warmer.
I knew it had to be something like that. Listen, I really wanted to explain what Terry and I were doing together. And I couldn't talk at lunch because, well, you saw Amber's attitude. The truth is, I asked Terry to help me do some shopping. Something special for you, Kate.
Bye, baby.
Bye-bye. Bye, Eric.
Bye. Take care now.
Bye.
Oh, never a dull moment. Hello?
Mrs. Redland? Mrs. Lucas here. Mr. Carpenter would like to speak to Master Eric, please.
Oh, Mrs. Lucas. Eric is not here right now, Mrs. Lucas.
Well, then, Mr. Carpenter would like to speak to Mrs. Mason.
Well, Mrs. Mason, Miriam is not here right now either. Well, can I take a message?
A message?
Here, let me have that phone. Charles Carpenter, Mrs. Redland.
Oh, Mr. Carpenter, Miriam and I were just talking about you a little while ago.
I want to speak to my daughter or my grandson.
Well, I'm sorry they're not here right now.
Well, would you kindly tell me where they are?
Well, I'm sorry I can't.
What did you say?
I said I can't.
Mrs. Redland, are you going to tell me where they are, or will I call the police?
Oh, no need to do that, sir. I assure you your grandson is perfectly safe. He's with his mother.
I am in no mood for games. Now, if anything has happened to either Eric or Miriam, you can count on a visit from the man, as I believe you describe him.
Mr. Carpenter, the only man I'm interested in is the one I pray to every night for your soul.
Well, you're wasting your time, I can assure you.
I'm beginning to think you're right, Mr. Carpenter. The only thing I can tell you is that your daughter took your grandson and left in her car, and I don't know where or when they'll be back.
Now, I'm warning you, Mrs. Redland. There are laws to protect innocent people. And
Get a load of this guy, will you?
There are a great many people in this
Ione,
town.
you don't
who
have to
are
listen to this
very,
kind of
very
garbage.
upset about the demographic changes that have taken place, and they're just about ready to do something about it.
Give me that phone. Mr. Carpenter, this is Barbara Farley.
Who? Oh, marvelous.
Let's get one thing straight, Mr. Big Shot. Your money may make you hot stuff in this town, but as far as the honest people are concerned, you're nothing but a crusty old windbag. And let me tell you something else. The average John, paying for a night's trick, has better manners than you do.
Lord forgive
So
her.
until you can learn a little common courtesy, don't call back. Just buzz off.
Oh, Dave, it's so pretty. I don't know what to say.
Well, that's just the wrapping. I hope you like what's inside.
You say Terry Davidson helped you pick it out?
Yes, she's a very sensitive and thoughtful person. And I really needed some female advice on this one. I really wanted it to be special for you, Kate.
Oh, Dave, it's beautiful. But how can you afford something like this?
Oh, I'll manage. Tell me, doesn't it seem familiar to you?
Am I imagining something, or is this like the Tree of Life necklace that you bought me? Oh, when was that?
My junior year in med school. You were already working to put me through.
It's the exact same design, only now a brooch.
Hey, let's see how it looks on, okay?
Okay.
Get right over here. There we are.
I love it. Well?
That doesn't do you justice.
Well, maybe it's because eons have passed since then.
Oh, yes. Has been that long, hasn't it? You know, when Terry pointed it out to me, I stood there for almost 10 minutes just staring at it through the glass. It brought back a lot, Kate.
Yes, I'm sure. I'm ashamed to say that I gave away the first necklace.
I'd be surprised if you hadn't.
Oh, it went for a worthy cause. I was running a telethon to raise money to help prevent birth defects. I'm sorry, Dave. I lied.
About what?
Well, I was listening to Amber before. When she was talking to me when you and Terry came into the restaurant.
Oh, Kate. I love you so very much.
For years, I fought so hard to make up for what happened to us. I felt it was my fault.
Oh, no, Kate, never.
I felt so angry at myself, so guilty for letting things get so far from this. Dave, where did it all go? What happened? Where did we go wrong?
I don't know. But I do know that with God's help, it'll never go wrong again.
What a fool I've been to doubt you. I thought it was all resolved. I thought I had laid you to rest, Dave Phillips. But you've always been alive in my heart all these years.
Don't think the worst, Mr. Carpenter. I'm quite sure Miriam is fine. Eric and she have probably gone out to dinner.
I don't think so, Mrs. Lucas. Oh, would you answer that, please? Oh, Harold, what kept you so long?
Well, the way you sounded on the phone, I thought I'd give you a little bit of time to collect your wits.
My wits have never been more collected than they are right now, and the first thing I want you to do is fire that Farley woman.
And wait a second, let's just back up here, start at the beginning. You told me that Miriam and Eric had disappeared.
Yes, and I think Miss Farley and Mrs. Redland are both involved.
Well, come on, Charles, I know that Miriam is staying at Ms. Redland's, but gee, that hardly calls for a kidnapping charge.
Harold, are you my lawyer or aren't you?
All right, Charles, tell me what happened.
Well, it's really very simple. Eric and Miriam have disappeared, and the last time they were seen was at the home of Mrs. Redland, who, upon my questioning, and I'm sure she was trying to hide something, refused to tell me where they were. And then that Farley woman gets on the phone and accuses me of being a client of hers and then hangs up. Now, I want to know, Harold, does that constitute any legal grounds for any sort of a suit?
Well, I guess I can go over there and ask some questions, but don't get so excited about it.
Well, you just make sure that you don't come home here empty-handed. I want to be able to put my grandson in his own bed tonight in this house.
Get on down there, woman.
Beg your pardon.
I gotta tell you something. Either I gotta shave or somebody gotta paint a mustache on that boy.
Well, not me. I already finished. That's it.
Well, that was great food, girl. I tell you, there's one thing in my life that has changed.
And what is that?
I will never, ever take for granted home-cooked food again.
Well, okay, good. I'll hold you to that, all right?
Several weeks of hospital food is enough to make anybody change their mind. But you know something? If you were the worst cook in Kingsley, you'd have still gotten through to me.
Oh, thanks a lot.
You know what I mean. A lot of things sure have been happening to me lately. You know, it's like I can see life differently than most people now. I mean, I know I can't explain it to them, but I know just how life ends.
You only know part of how it ends.
I know where it ends for me.
But it doesn't have to if you only listen.
Oh, Marianne, I know what you gotta say, but I don't want to argue. Come on, we're having a good time, and I really don't.
Russ, I don't want to argue either, okay? But I do want to spend my life with you. I want to be a part of your life.
Yeah?
I think you have a lot to give. But I can't if you refuse to accept that God really loves you.
I was thinking about my life of crime. Yeah, I was pretty good at it, although there was certain things that I couldn't do. Not that I had a choice. I just couldn't do them. Wonder why.
Well, I think it's because you're basically a very good person and you want to do what's right.
Maybe. You know, maybe if I did that, you know, did some good things for people. You know, like I was thinking about going to work at the clinic, you know, some voluntary stuff.
I think that would be wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe if I do some good stuff like that, the big guy in the sky there might change his mind.
Russ, I have told you before, you cannot earn God's grace. He died for you because he loves you. And all you have to do is just believe it.
That's the problem. I can't believe it. I can't accept all this love talk that you talk about so easily. Ben tried to tell me the same thing. But it just isn't true in my case. Hey, I know what I'm talking about. I know what's in store for me.
But you know, you have to remember that Charles Carpenter is all twisted up inside. And while he seems to have everything, you have to look at what he's lost.
I know where you're coming from, I own. But my experience tells me that men like Charles Carpenter know what they want and usually get it.
Well, we do agree on one thing, and that's Miriam's leaving. That was for the best.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, now, who is that? The telephone, now the door. Now, who could it be? Oh, Mr. Webster, come on in.
Oh, hey, Miss Redland. Look, I'm sorry. This is not a social call.
Your big Carpenter sent you, right?
Yeah, look what's going on here, Babs. You got Charles hotter than a $2 pistol. He's worst I've ever seen him.
I told him the truth, Harold, and the truth hurts.
Well, a little diplomacy wouldn't hurt. Now, what's the story on Miriam and the boy?
Now, wait a minute. Just because Charles I ordered a royal decree doesn't mean you can barge in here demanding answers.
If my memory serves me correctly, the lady of the house let me through the door.
Miriam and Eric aren't here.
Would you mind telling me where they are?
I'm sorry, Mr. Webster, I just can't.
And now listen, you two, loyalty among women is one thing, messing around with a man's health is another. Now, I'm telling you, I don't think Charles can handle the stress.
Handle the stress? Look, Harold, I know you're on his side. He's your biggest client. But Charles Carpenter has nobody to blame for his troubles but himself. And frankly, I wish you'd just drop him.
Drop him.
Yeah.
Look, Babs, you're my secretary, and he's a paying client. You work for me, I work for him, I do what he tells me to do. He's told me to fire you.
Well?
Is it true that you called him a...
And if I did?
Babs, I'm not going to fire you, but I do think you owe him an apology.
Look, I made it perfectly clear to your client that until he can show me a little respect, and show a little respect to that lady over there who nursed his daughter back to sanity, well, then he's earned my respect. But until then, Charles Carpenter gets nothing from me.
I knew it was only a matter of time before the old man finally slipped up.
Yeah, Dave, right? You want a drink?
Yeah. No. Are you listening to me?
Yeah.
I mean, I find it very hard to believe that the man would actually show up in broad daylight with another woman. Even I didn't think he was that stupid.
Yeah, Terry Davidson, right?
Gil, have you even listened to a word I've said?
Yeah. Your father is a deceitful old drunk who's trying to put himself off as a humanitarian so that he can win back your famous mother, who you are trying to protect by marrying her off to the next president of the United States, right? I've heard it all before, Amber.
Gil, you realize how important this is to me. We're talking about my mother's future.
For Pete's sake, Amber, can't we talk about our future? Don't you realize I'm trying to rebuild a multi-million-dollar business? My personal life is a bit tenuous at the moment. How about listening to me for once?
Oh, is that what's happening here? We're playing a little game. I listen to you and you listen to me, right?
Amber, do you realize that lately all we've talked about is other people? nothing about us.
You know how important my mother is to me. You know that I do not want to let her make any more mistakes in her life.
Okay, Amber. Okay. You play your little detective games, okay? But understand, I can only take so much.
Is that some kind of a threat?
Take it as a warning.
Look, if you don't like it around here, why don't you just leave?
No, Amber. I don't think that would solve anything.
Oh, you don't. Maybe you're wrong. Maybe it would solve everything.
Amber, I don't want to leave. I want to be with you. I really care for you. We've had some great times together. We're just going through a rough period now. But if we hang tight, together, we'll get through it. I tell you what, I'll put on some of that music that you like, and we'll light the candles, and I'll break out the brandy, and make a night of it.